All right, and we are live. What's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Let me know if you can see me okay and if you can hear me okay. You probably can't see me right now, but bear with, that's okay. How is this? How are we? Is everything good? Thank you all for tuning in, ladies and gents, to another live stream right here on the YouTube channel. You know I love doing these. And Bitcoin has hit $50,000. Just like, as of a few minutes ago, basically, we were there. Let's take a look at this just real quick. It was literally, just on this wick, 15 minutes ago we were there, and then basically like an hour ago as well. So Bitcoin has hit 50K. So congratulations to those of you that did not lose faith. This is obviously a fantastic day, and it's a day with a lot of FOMO. It's a day with a lot of people that are really feeling like they've missed out on rallies. They're feeling like they've missed out on a lot of profit-taking opportunities. Clearly, the traditional finance markets are pretty happy right now as well. I'm just looking at the S&P, which I'll show you in just a second. Well, there goes my sleep. Yeah, man, that's how it goes. Thank you all for tuning in, ladies and gents. As you do come in, do me a massive, massive favor. We all know that we love these live streams, but YouTube is horrible with pushing them out to viewers, and that's primarily why I don't do them. So help me out, smash up that like button, double check that you're subscribed and you've ticked the bell icon and all that good stuff, because that helps bring this to more people, and then it's basically worth the time doing it, rather than videos. So thank you all very much for your support so far. Really, really do appreciate it. Smash up those likes as you are coming in, and let's take a look at this chart, because Bitcoin, I was talking to you in just yesterday's video. Bitcoin was in this really nice kind of typical bullish pennant pattern here. And this basically shows that Bitcoin was kind of going sideways for a little bit and then managed to take another leg up. It's basically the same kind of pattern that Bitcoin was already producing, and I showed it to you basically looking a little bit like this, and how we did it over here, and we did it even over here on a small time frame, right? So very, very typical price action where Bitcoin kind of trends up, moves downward slightly. This is what I call fighting the trend, or continuing the trend, or consolidation, and then we continue the trend up and we do it again, continue the trend up, do it again, and then bam, we get that breakout there. So that's absolutely fantastic. We also had some of the similar kind of body language and posture that we displayed before. Here was where Bitcoin broke above $38,000, above $40,000. We kind of consolidated, and that was a sign that we were going to see some more upward price action, and this is how it looked yesterday. So we covered all of this yesterday, and so this pump doesn't really take us by surprise, but what it does do now is it starts putting us in a potentially stretched position, and that's something I want to talk to you guys about on this YouTube video. One of the things that I'm very conscious of is that a lot of the time when people just start celebrating, when people are just kind of like walking out into the streets with a fucking Corona beer in their hand, celebrating that Bitcoin's broken $50,000 or whatever the momentous occasion is, that is, at least around that time, if not a few steps before, Four Flies is going to come in, Mr. Loyal is going to drop in and say, hey, hang on a minute, this is where danger starts to really become, a force to be reckoned with, I guess you could say. So, this is something which I really, really want to bring to your attention, and we're going to be discussing in this live stream. Thank you all for tuning in today, ladies and gents. By the way, I see we've got 260 people here. Do me a favor, guys, and smash those likes up. We're going to reach a lot more people. And obviously, with YouTube's discovery algorithms, it's absolutely dog shit for live streams, for me at least. So the more you guys engage, the better it is for us. So I really do appreciate that. Just, that little tap goes a long way. And as we go along, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and I will be going through them as I go along here as well. So really nice price action here. Let's talk about where this puts us. So, one of the first things to point out with this market now, and I think we're actually just going to have to do this on a very large time frame, really just kind of zoom out and take a good look at what's actually happened here, is that right here, on the weekly open on this Monday, we have seen beautiful follow through, right? The previous week of trading, which ended yesterday, was a absolutely fantastic candle. From bottom, from low to high, basically candle open to candle close. It was a 13.5% candle, which is absolutely fantastic. It comes after the price kind of had risen up to this level, obviously coming off this major resistance. This big rally was expected. We were expecting this for a long time. I held on to my long positions precisely because of it, because this was, very easy to see coming, right? If you break a key macro area of resistance, especially an area of resistance which you've been kind of stuck below for a very long time, naturally you can expect a big breakout and you can expect it to happen quickly. But what we saw after that was some really nice consolidation, allowing us to now produce that next move relatively safely, right? This is at least on this kind of more midterm time frame here. Obviously, when we zoom out and we look at this from a more kind of zoomed out perspective, the only big correction we've had so far since the very bottom was here between 30 and 25k. And to me, that's an absolutely important detail to be keeping in mind, because that is an indication that if we haven't had something like that since 25, but we have now literally risen by plus 100%, well, that is very telling, potentially indicating to us that, you have to pay for it a little bit. You have to pay for the joy that you have, and the way you pay for it is either with sideways consolidation or prices dropping down. So we're going to talk about that again, like I said, in this video. I'm super happy about all of the stuff, and I think there's some really nice opportunities to make money playing the upside, right? And that's something I've spoken to you guys about in the last video. But at the same time, I think what a lot of people are really going to be struggling to come to terms with is that this is also a risk is going to, to me at least, become quite a big deal in this market now, because the higher we're getting, the more we're actually starting to reach these kind of levels of exuberance here, which, irrational exuberance, which I think is really important. We're just on the edge of on the edge of extreme greed right now. A couple of days ago, we were literally on the fucking edge of it with a reading of 74. And of course, extreme greed starts at 75 with this fear and greed rating, right? So we're just on the edge of it. We're sitting at 70 right now, and we haven't even updated, okay? All of this price action happened within the last 24 hours. Shout out to Crypto Kid in the live chat. Absolute legend out here in Dubai. This dude started out in crypto when he was like 14 years old, basically like a mini Sammy. Go check him out. This fear and greed rating, has 5 hours left to update. And when we see that update, that's probably when we're going to start to really get an understanding with, a fairly consistent, reliable metric, at least in my experience, of where sentiment actually is. But I'd also like to take a look at this with Twitter. I don't know if I'm actually logged into Twitter right now. Let me see if I am. Because Twitter, yes, I am. Twitter is always, really useful to kind of just scroll through. I've got a little trading list here of just a bunch of traders, not necessarily traders that I respect, but a lot of them I do. And it's just kind of about, seeing sentiment, because the thing about these markets is that, 99% of people, 90% of people are going to be wrong. And that's why I'm saying, like, when that exuberance really starts to set in, when people really start to get very excited in these markets, thank you all for smashing those likes up. Let's pump them up one more time, ladies and gents. That's where I start to kind of look, I start to understand that, look, like most people are going to lose money. So if we're getting this kind of herd mentality where everybody's out on the street, partying, drinking their beers and celebrating this price action, obviously, if we're not necessarily in a major bull market, because I still don't think we are. I mean, you just don't, you need pullbacks. It's just completely natural. And so until we kind of get those pullbacks, then to me, it's going to be, quite a dangerous, treacherous bit of, treacherous waters here, basically. That's something I'm keeping in mind. But again, we just take a look at this from this more kind of zoomed in perspective, and we're doing very well. Consolidation and then a rip up. Absolutely fantastic, ladies and gents. Definitely something which to me is showing us all the right signs. And if we take a look at this, just kind of asking the relevant next questions, where might this go next? Well, we can zoom in. Take a look at this on the daily, and all I want to do is just focus your attention on this blue dotted line, right? Because that's the current price that Bitcoin's trading at, and this is going to start to give us a kind of understanding of where we might encounter some resistance next. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a fixed range volume profile, basically, from here to here, just so we can get an idea of where the volume is in these price ranges. And bearing in mind, we are trading right here, okay? So anything above is what we're interested in. And already, this particular level jumps out $52,000. It's obviously, it's a level that we already knew. When you guys were hearing me talk about the 50K range, I'm saying 51 and 52. I'm not saying 50 on the dot. 51, 52 was obviously a very important price level for Bitcoin going back because of some key reversals. I'll demonstrate all of that to you in just a second. But here, we've got even more key price action taking place in this price range, stretching between 54 and 55. And basically, to be honest, I mean, this entire box. So I'm just gonna draw another box right here. Just again, this entire range being a nice big block of resistance, and then we've got one more up here. Let me just grab this and show you what this looks like, right? So we've got another one just like right around here. So, those are kind of our key areas where things start to get a little bit more heated, you could say. And if we kind of take a look at this, it makes sense. I mean, first of all, the 52K area, I mean, kind of goes without saying. We had a major market top right here. It was a top that resulted in Bitcoin dropping down by a further 36% within 1 month. So, I mean, pretty quick, pretty steep drop. At the same time, resistance over here as well back in 2021. I mean, off this high down to this low, it was a 2-week 25% drop. You're losing a quarter of your value in just 1 fortnight. And then, of course, lots of consolidation, reversal, price action back here in early 2021 as well. So 52K, unequivocally a strong level that just makes sense in this market. Okay, so that's where I'd be expecting some resistance next. I don't think that there is really any resistance where we are right now, but I mean, you could kind of make that argument. There's some reversal price action here, but I think for me the key level is going to be 52, and that would kind of make sense for Bitcoin. And then next up, honestly, I almost feel like we could just remove this. It is really just this entire block of resistance that stretches between 54, 55, and goes all the way up to about 58. And the reason that this is a key level is because we saw a lot of key consolidation taking place right here. We saw some slowing down with the dump over here, right? The dump was originally going very quick, slowed down, and then sped up. It's almost like this was, if you guys have studied physics, right? Here's a bad analogy for you guys. I know you guys are all here for these. When light passes through air, it can move pretty quickly, but as soon as it passes through water, you get refraction, right? And the light is able to pass a little bit more slowly because there's just more like resistance. There's more air resistance. In this case, it's liquid, right? So, the atmosphere is thicker, and so it slows down. And then over here, the atmosphere gets a little bit thinner, right? So it's like you're passing out through water. Similar concept here with these markets. You've got a key psychologically, technically charged level. You can definitely kind of, form something like this, but as soon as you get into this range, you're going to have to expect some sort of a slowdown and then continue up, maybe a bit of a slowdown here and then continue up. That's basically how these levels behave, right? So, that's something that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for. But I mean, the really good news is that there's just nothing really left on this technical chart. I mean, and it's the same thing I was talking about before. We broke the key level of resistance down at $30,000. And so to me, now, there isn't really anything I'm particularly worried about from a purely technical standpoint. And that's where this live stream becomes really difficult and confusing to bring across to you, because on the technical landscape here, we're looking good. At least from this particular view, and only from this particular view as well, we're looking good. Now, if we start to take into account the rest of what happened, it's not that great to me, okay? And the reason it's not that great to me is the same thing I've been saying continuously on this YouTube channel, which is that this entire bit of price action has only seen one significant correction, and it lasted 7 months, so it was a very, very long one, but we've paid absolutely nothing for our uptrend since that 25K level. Now, you could argue there was a lot of debt that we were kind of shaking off over here, so naturally, we were kind of, enjoying the end of this punishment, right? And so we're very, very happy. But again, I mean, natural forces of the market will always dictate that you're going to pay for price action with corrections. And it doesn't matter if that price action is downwards, you're still going to get corrections up like this, right? Or if that price action is upwards, you're still going to get corrections like this. So that's really, really important to keep in mind. And of course, it's going to be even more difficult for people to keep that in mind now. So again, from a technical perspective, considering all of this and considering like basically all of this price action, it looks good. When you start to zoom out, it's that longer term time frame stuff that to me is making me concerned. Over here, like I said, not very much resistance. Nothing particularly concerning, you know, like worst case scenario for Bitcoin, just looking at this more short-term analysis, we go up to 52K, we come back down to 44, and then we rally up, right? I mean, that would be the beautiful way to do it. And honestly, if we start forming really sensible price action like that, I am no longer going to need or want a deeper correction. Because if Bitcoin starts showing that it's actually moving in more sensible ways on the way up, well, then it's just going to be one of those cases where everybody was hoping for a $30,000 Bitcoin, but it doesn't really come because you know, we kind of fixed up later on, and now we're forming better corrections. There's also the idea of a hated rally, and this is something really important that I want to cover with you guys. Thank you all for tuning into this live stream, by the way. We're about, 20 minutes in. If you are enjoying it so far, if you're finding it useful, opening your mind up a little bit, even if it's just an interesting debate for you because you disagree with me, please do me a favor and shoot those likes up. I do really appreciate it. We are reaching more and more people as we continue on in this live stream. I do see your questions as well. Continue dropping them and I will get to them in just a second. But the idea of a hated rally, I think, is important. And this is something that, you know, it's a general concept in markets. I want to see if I can kind of show you what this means, you know, here on Google. Let's just type in hated rally meaning. And, you know, what we're talking about here is basically, you know, the idea that the more hated the crypto, the more likely it is to pump hard. That this is in a slightly different context, but you know, when people are constantly fading a rally, when they are constantly talking down on it, when they are when generally the sentiment is like, I don't believe in this, and you know, this and this and this, then, you know, you can start to say that actually, like, this is one of those things where, you know, the majority of the people aren't going to get what they want. That's normal. And in a hated rally context, the majority of people want a drop. So I had a couple people saying that I was one of the people hating this rally. You know, again, you know, I've just got to dispel this straight away by saying I'm more long than every single one of you haters, and I'm proving it constantly. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm making more money as this goes up. I mean, I'm heavily in Bitcoin with my holdings, and I'm heavily long on multiple cryptos. So, and I've been long on multiple cryptos since way the fuck down at like 20K. So, you know, for Bitcoin, right? So, I don't know how much you can say I hate this rally. I'm making a fuckload of money off it. You know, so a rally is only a good thing for me, right? I mean, if the market moves up, I'm making more money in like every single direction. So, you know, it's not something that I'm unhappy about. And at the same time, you know, I looked through Twitter. I was like, you know, obviously I don't really think that these people are talking sense, but I just kind of read through Twitter, and it's like, I'm not really seeing, you know, any particular like bearish sentiment across the space right now. I feel kind of alone and singled out, actually, a lot of the time when I'm making predictions like, hey, Bitcoin's down at 20K, this is probably you know, a time for me to buy, or hey, 25K is just the same low as before, so there's no need to be worried. Or even down here, hey, we're still punching in higher lows, why would you need to be worried? It's all in these occasions where I actually felt like I was alone. I couldn't really even find people who agreed with me, right? And it's not to say, I got to make this point really clear, I'm not trying to be alone in my opinions, because that's just edgy and a little bit cringe and not necessarily a good strategy. But for me, it's just, look, I've got a good understanding now after 7 years nearly in the crypto space trading technicals, you know, to now where I kind of know that like certain things don't really add up, certain things kind of need to drop, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. And then I can also I can do that analysis on one side, and on the other side I can just look at what people are saying, and if it's not matching up, then, you know, like, to me, it's just understanding that most people will be incorrect. So you know, obviously I don't know if it's going to be here, you know, obviously I thought it would be back here. timing is incredibly difficult for these kind of ideas, but that's also why it gets super dangerous, because a lot of the time what ends up happening is, any naysayers, any people that are like me, they're actually back here, a very, very famous example that I've told you guys about quite publicly a few times. When we were on this rally, this was all fantastic. We got to about, I don't know, like over here, and I was like, guys, we're moving up too fast, we're moving up too high, this doesn't make sense, we're gonna have to retrace. And I kept continuing that sentiment all the way up, and then around over here, I changed my mind, and I was like, actually, it looks like Bitcoin is gonna stick to this, and we're gonna, just rally up to fucking $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, and that was like the beginning of the fucking end, right? So, and this is my point, is that a lot of the time when you've got naysayers that are kind of hating the rally, I guess, in this context, when they convert, right? Like when they, and you'll see this applied in real estate, you'll see this applied on the S&P 500. It's a big idea that I actually covered with you guys on the S&P 500 years ago. I don't know if you guys were here back then, but I want to show this to you very, very quickly. There was a big drop, I believe it was like 2021. I think it was like this one right here. No, it wasn't this one. It was honestly even before this. It was probably like, it could have been this one. It was one of the big drops that we had, which we just recovered from absolutely beautifully. And I was like, look, I mean, if everybody and their fucking grandmother is kind of expecting, the S&P 500 to go into a massive bear market, then that's obviously not what's going to happen. But when everyone starts kind of, when these markets buy you, this is a really important concept, ladies and gents, that you just don't even find it written in books. There's certainly no YouTubers or Twitter gurus talking about this. But when the market buys you, okay, when the market buys your opinions, when the market buys your fucking soul with profits, to the point where you had a healthy bit of skepticism, but the market bought that off you, and you decided to leave it behind because every idiot was making more money than you, that is usually a couple steps before the market actually finally reverses, okay? So it's when people who have good reasoning but have just been wrong for too long, to the point where they're getting FOMO, sitting on the fucking sidelines and stuff, it's when those people start kind of jumping ship. That's oftentimes when the least amount of people are actually expecting the market to crash. And that's why big uptrends like this on the S&P 500 can be very dangerous. I don't know if this one is particularly dangerous, and we'll cover it in just a second, but it's obviously overextended at this point. We're up by 22% in 110 days with no corrections. The best we got was minus 2%, and it took about a week, right? So, I mean, absolutely no doubt in my mind that this is due for a correction. We've had very nice corrections on the S&P 500, right? I mean, we rallied up here by 17%, then we corrected down by 7%. From this low to this high, it was a 20% move. We fell down by 9, right? From this low to this high, 20%, fell down by 10, right? Again, 22%. No correction as of yet. So it's very normal for the S&P 500 to print these kind of corrections, and we haven't done it yet. So, again, naturally, if everybody's going to start to celebrate, and from a technical perspective, we're due for a correction, but we haven't had it yet, then to me, again, it's just I'm looking for probabilities, right? Like, I'm not expecting to be right 100% of the time. I know that it's shockingly common that I'm correct, but not 100%. But what the reason that I'm able to have such a good success rate anyway at kind of, analyzing these things, and then of course positioning my capital in the right places, is because I'm just looking for that divergence, right? Where from a technical perspective, something should be happening already, but from a psychological perspective, people are expecting the complete opposite. It sounds really, really obvious, sounds really, really simple. It sounds like that because it is. It's obviously just not as easy to, apply this in real life, because you have FOMO, right? Because you're a human. So, that's something which is really important. So when the market kind of buys you like this, then, obviously if you're one of the guys that have been expecting a mass depression, like a 1929 or whatever, then obviously the more of this we get to buy people's opinions onto the bullish side, the more likely you are to then finally get this one, just rocket ship down. Just absolute, like stone dropping down from the top of a mountain edge or something, like that's kind of where this thing will typically start to show itself. So, I think that's an important idea to be keeping in mind in this market right now. I mean, again, it's hard to say where that might happen, but timing is still going to save you if you're saving yourself from being irrationally exuberant. Now, there's a few charts I want to show you as well that cover some of these ideas on the short and longer terms. Here is something which I think is particularly interesting. If we take a look at Bitcoin with its RSI, we are in overbought territory now, and overbought territory doesn't necessarily mean bad things. Here were the last couple of times that we've been in overbought territory, and really all that happened was our uptrend slowed down. It slowed down over here when we reached overbought territory. It slowed down over here when we reached overbought territory, but in these cases it didn't stop. We just continue to rise up, but slowly, right? So if we're continuing to do the same thing now, that it's almost like when does this thing even end? It's getting, it gets quite ridiculous. And one of the things that I like to say about the RSI is it is one of the most unreliable indicators in my experience. And I think one of the reasons for that is because people learn it as the first indicator that they use when they start trading, because it's what the shit munching analysts on YouTube or whatever will be talking about, because it's the only thing they understand, because they're not actually analysts. They just make money off all sorts of other peripheral schemes as an influencer. So they don't actually need to know what they're talking about. They just need to look like they do. And so that's why you kind of get like shoveled into the RSI camp, as your first indicator you've ever learned. And I was the same. That's why I'm talking about this with such accuracy. Like, that's how I learned. But what you'll actually find is an overbought RSI is simply a measure of strength, right? I mean, overbought is such a misleading word, because to me, what the RSI means, and well, in the dictionary too, what it means is the relative strength index. Okay, so if you've got a higher reading, it means that the relative strength is higher. It doesn't mean it's weak. It doesn't mean that it's too strong. It doesn't mean that it's being bought too much. It just means that the relative strength is high. Okay, and if the strength is high, then naturally you have to expect the price will continue rising up. And at the same time, if that continues going on, forever, or for a very long period of time, at some point you've also got to start, putting hovering your foot over the brake, getting ready to apply it, understanding that even though this does indicate a lot of strength for the market, you can't keep that up forever, right? So that's something which is interesting in this case right now. We've got the same thing showing up right now. Previously, it meant slower continuations to the upside. Maybe it means that. Maybe we're approaching a reversal. I'm not here to convince you. Obviously, you can make your own decisions up on your own. Guys, thank you all so much for the support in this live stream so far. We've got nearly 500 viewers here. Guys, the more you engage with this, the better it does. So I do appreciate you all very, very much. If you are enjoying this so far, again, please do me a favor and smash up those likes. Learned a lot from you. Thanks. You're very, very welcome, sir. This could be the top on this year, guys. Interesting. I don't think this will be the top for this year. We've got another 10 months in this year. So I think, I honestly think we could even break the all-time high this year. But not at this rate. I mean, if we keep on rallying up like this without a big correction, then we're fucked as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that is not how you break all-time highs. It's not going to go like that. I'll get to the rest of your comments in a sec. I see a lot of questions here, so if you do have any questions, continue to drop them in and continue to smash up those likes as we do continue on. I do really, really appreciate it. Another big thing I want to talk to you, ladies and gents, about today is also the altcoin market, because this is where things are probably going to get very fun for altcoins. We've seen Bitcoin's dominance continue to rise up. This was as expected. I was mentioning that we could be looking at a floor over here. I was slightly wrong. Pardon me, the floor actually was punched in down here at 51, but we are doing the same thing anyway, which is basically kind of consolidating within a massive uptrend, and then, you can guess what's going to come next. So regardless of what happens to Bitcoin now, and I think this is actually where things get really fun for us Bitcoin maxis. If you're a Bitcoin maxi like me, doesn't mean I'm scared of making money on alts. Again, I think this is something which people really need to kind of ground themselves on. Is like, if you try and position me as somebody that doesn't like making money in any particular direction, you are woefully wrong, and my bank account proves it. I'll make money buying a fucking shitcoin, and I'll have absolutely no problem with it. But at the same time, I like Bitcoin. I feel safest in Bitcoin. And the fun part for us Bitcoin maxis now is that if Bitcoin shoots up, right, and trades towards 55, 60K, let's say I'm horribly wrong, we're probably going to see the dominance shoot up as well, right? And the reason for that I think a lot of people fail to recognize this, but we talk about it on the channel quite a lot. Those of you who are subscribed are going to be very familiar with this idea, is that if you've got, 1,000 assets, but only one of them is considered safe, Bitcoin in this case, you've got 1,000 assets, but only one of them is considered safe, you've got now a situation where if you can make money off the safest asset, then you won't care about taking risk. Okay, if I can make 20% profit on Bitcoin with an arbitrary risk value of 1, let's say I'm risking 1, whatever 1 means, doesn't matter, but that risk gets multiplied by a factor of 2, so I'm risking 2 on Ethereum, but I'm only going to make an extra $50, then that equation doesn't really work out, right? Let me rephrase that. If I stand to lose $10 on Bitcoin, but I can make 100, versus on Ethereum, I stand to lose $20, but I can make 150, those numbers don't work out, right? It's not worth the extra risk to make a little bit more money. Or a better example would be I can make $105 on Ethereum, but I'm risking 20. I'd rather just take the slightly safer, slightly more boring option. And that's how people vote with their money. It's absolutely 100% clear. You see this in all markets. The biggest, safest, daddy, king, whatever you want to call it, of whatever space you're looking at, will perform the best. And when it performs the best, everything else which is riskier is no longer going to be attractive. Because why would you take more risk if you can make money being positioned in the safe asset? It just doesn't make sense. However, and this is where things get really fun. However, if you find yourself in a situation where now Bitcoin has had its fun, your safe asset has made you a shitload of money, you're feeling greedy as fuck because you've made money, and that's what happens to humans, you feel like a genius, now you want to take a little bit more risk because you have a little bit more to lose, and you're a smart guy and you've just doubled your account balance, and the first 2 X's of yours are starting to hit you back up because you got Bitcoin, but they don't know about the NFT craze yet. So you start diversifying into NFTs or shitcoins or whatever the fuck it is, right? And that's where you start to see that people start taking a little bit more risk because they've already made money from the safe asset. So that's what ends up happening with Bitcoin's dominance. Toward the end of the bull market, and it's always toward the end of the bull market, you start to see Bitcoin's dominance dropping heavily because people are diversifying into altcoins, okay? Because now people are ready to take on more risks. As things start to get very bad or very good, altcoins are no longer interesting because you can make money on Bitcoin or save yourself from losses on Bitcoin. But whatever the question, the answer is Bitcoin. And that's why, to me, I don't see anything else happening but Bitcoin continuing to rally up. And it makes perfect sense. These drops here on the Bitcoin dominance chart, they look really small. This was life-changing money for a lot of people in the altcoin market. So guess what's going to happen if the if the Bitcoin dominance comes up here and then comes back down for a major retracement? This is a major bull market style Bitcoin dominance move. And that's again why, I'm coming at you guys with this attitude of look, let's calm the fuck down and sit on our chairs and fucking, let's not start getting drunk and celebrating this right now. But at the same time, I'm saying, hang on, if you just stay level with me for a minute and we watch where this thing might go, you might actually see opportunities that'll make this look like peanuts, okay? And that's what I'm waiting for. I'll make money on both. I've already done it. I've got no problem with doing that, all right? That's very, very clear. We're all on the same page about that. But if I can make money on this move too, and if I can keep my capital safe before we get there so I can actually deploy it sensibly, then that's what I'm much more interested in doing. This is absolutely beautiful for you guys because with the links in the description you're getting over $200,000 in exchange bonuses. And a lot of that is capital that you can deploy back into the market. You can wait for that. You don't have to wait for it. Your choice doesn't matter. But what you're getting, for example, with this link in the description to Bybit is a completely free $500 position on Solana. So this only works on Solana, but you can put this in right now. Doesn't matter if you want to go long or if you want to go short. You can open this position up with $500 that they are going to give you to trade, and any profits you generate are yours to keep, yours to withdraw. This costs Bybit a lot of money. So take advantage of it while you can before they realize that this is not worth running, or that they just don't want to because it's costing them a lot of money. They are literally giving you free trading capital. Take advantage of it while you can. And in addition to that, Deepcoin is a brilliant alternative exchange that does not require KYC, and they are going to double your account balance if you just deposit $100 in, okay? If you deposit $100 and make any trades worth 10K, you can do that in one trade or 5 or 10, whatever, because you can use leverage. They will double your account balance if you just put in 100, which is absolutely fantastic. And in fact, they're taking that one little, and it is a little step, but it is still a step further by giving you $10 for free when you sign up. So take advantage of that if you want this free capital to trade with. Obviously, you've got over 100K in bonuses otherwise with the other bonuses that are available. Bybit doing something similar with up to 30K. Check them both out. They are both absolutely phenomenal. Deepcoin, already, many of you guys might not know, but already a major exchange in the space. They were ranked like number 9 on derivatives, so very, very big. They're just not so well heard of in like English markets, but they are obviously changing that right now. So super, super cool stuff there. Like I said, Bitcoin's dominance potentially starting to indicate some really, really nice opportunities coming around the corner now. And that is definitely something which I am looking forward to, because if it does end up happening, whether Bitcoin goes up or not, it will mean that these altcoins are going to get cheaper. Like one of the things that people have been kind of questioning, not much because I don't really talk about it, but a little bit, especially people who know me in real life, is why have I not bought Ethereum yet? I actually love Ethereum. I love making money off Ethereum. It's some of the easiest money I've ever made in my life. Why have I not bought it yet? Well, it's because I kind of feel like this level is not going to hold for Ethereum. It's a level that Ethereum fell down to before, and we're doing the most, the more time goes on, the worse this chart looks, to be honest. We're doing the most typical, kind of thing we ever do when we're going to bottom out and actually fall below support, which is that we originally came down to the support level and got a massive bounce up. This bounce happened pretty much instantly to take us up by 20%. Happened within just 2 weeks, or in fact just like a day or so to go up by 10%. But up to this high, it took 3 months, and Ethereum nearly doubled against Bitcoin. It gained 73% against Bitcoin, which is absolutely fantastic. But from this time where we bottomed out up until now, it's been 4 months and not 3, and we're only up by 3%. This is very, very telling. The best Ethereum was able to pull off from this low took the same 3-month time period as before. Before in 3 months it went up by 70%. Now in 3 months it went up by 20%. Someone like me, somebody that's been in the space for a while, I want to read between the lines and I want to understand what is actually at play here. And for me, what I'm seeing absolutely glaringly clear is that we are in the same support level that we were at previously, and we are mustering up a laughable bounce, okay? Last time it was a real bounce. It was a real opportunity for Ethereum to recover and even continue to trend higher. This time, it's absolutely laughable. It's meaningless, it's small, it's weak, it is pathetic, ladies and gents. And not only was that bounce absolutely horrible, it's also now back down to the same area of support anyway. Now, if you're like me and you understand that a big bounce implies a lot of strength, well, then you're going to understand that a weak bounce implies an absence of strength. We do not have strength if we're not producing those kind of big bounces. So what happens next? Naturally, you get the breakdown, okay? And we do this in both directions. When we're about to break a ceiling, originally we'll kind of, I want to see if I can find you an example on this particular chart, but if not, there's many, many other charts I can show you. Here's an example. We can kind of get it from this example right here. We hit this price level. Let's say it's just this yellow box, right? About where we are right now, 0.52 against Bitcoin. Originally we get a quick drop down. Ethereum's not really hanging around in this range. Just within the next literally 2 days, we're down by 20%. It's horrific. The next time when we get up into this range, we stay above that box for a whole 11 days, right? Very, very different. The first time we get smacked down very quickly. The next time 11 days later and we're still not even below it. And then a further 10 days later and we haven't even been rejected. This is a total of 22 days, right? 22 days, 3 entire weeks. 3 weeks, ladies and gents, that we've been at this price level or above, and the price did not drop down. Previously, it was instant. Previously, we had a lot of weakness. We couldn't stay up here. We fell down. And in fact, we fell down as low as minus 36% against Bitcoin. Forget about the dollar loss. This is just what Ethereum lost against Bitcoin, okay? What it lost against the dollar, probably closer to like a 50% loss or more, right? So absolutely huge. Bitcoin was actually dropping at this time. And I remember I actually panic sold Ethereum exactly here on the chart, exactly what I'm showing to you right now. Right here, I panic sold Ethereum. I think it was like my first ever altcoin trade, or my second altcoin trade, because the first one was when I bought Ethereum. And obviously that was the last time I did that as well. But you can read between the lines, and it's so obvious. The first time we get a quick rejection, second time the market is stronger, we're staying up for a little bit longer, and that is a key sign that the market might be ready to break out higher. Now you look at the current day price action and you told me that this is not the same, right? I mean, like, can you even do that with a straight face? Can you look at this right now and tell me that we're not in the exact same fucking situation and just in reverse? Previously it was an uptrend, this time it's a downtrend, but it's the exact same thing, right? So to me, that's a very clear sign that this thing might be about to drop, and that's why I don't want to buy it yet, because when I buy Ethereum, I'm buying Ethereum in order to double my Bitcoin, in order to triple my Bitcoin. So for me, if Ethereum is able to drop down a little bit more, I think, maybe the next logical, and it is a big drop, but the next logical support area will probably be down here at 0.03, at least on a macro scale. This is the next logical support area. From here, just up to the current price, we're up by 70%. Up to our previous highs, we're nearly tripling. We're nearly tripling our price, right? If I put one Bitcoin in over here, I'm taking out 2.7 at this top. This is what I'm interested in, right? Because if I think Bitcoin is going to break $70,000, well, then I want as many fucking Bitcoins as possible, right? And I'm looking for the easiest ways to make those. And for me, this is one of those really, really typical kind of charts that are going to end up breaking down. It hasn't happened yet. A little bit surprising to me. Obviously, I expected it to happen a long time ago because, I mean, we've been in this range for a long time. We've been here for like 4 months. But again, I mean, a bounce like this only serves to prove me more right. And the reason I'm even more confident about this is because we're doing the most typical thing we ever do in a downtrend, and it's the most logical, normal thing that you can expect, which is that we are setting, say it with me in the comment section, ladies and gents, we are setting lower highs. Okay, the more lower highs we have, the more bearish the market is. It's almost always that way. There are exceptions, and exceptions do not disprove the rule. Lower highs are almost always a bad thing in these markets. And all we've done here is we punched in another lower high. We probably have to ignore this one. So if we draw this one and then this one here, we're setting, I mean, this is a new lower high. If we manage to rally up again and we only get up here, it's another lower high. These things do not strengthen the argument for Ethereum. It actually makes it much more concerning. Now, the good news for Ethereum is that if we manage to break, like this resistance line, for example, let's say Ethereum gets up here, well, then we're just kind of setting a double top. But if we get, above this level, let's say to this green line at 0.062, that's where you can start to say that actually it kind of looks like Ethereum is now setting a higher high. Okay, if our first high is over here and our next high is here, well, then this looks like a higher high. And if we have a higher high, then maybe we're going to keep trending higher, right? So, that's how you can kind of make sense of these charts. You could actually say that this was the higher high. But for me, I'm looking for something a little bit more macro, right? Like all of this price action happened since we fell down to this range. So anything that happens after this point is irrelevant. I want to see the highs break above this, or even this. I mean, this would be a really obvious one to break. So, but it's very far away, so you can't be that picky. Well, I can't be anyway. So, like breaking above this green line to me would be like the very, very clear higher high, because this, this is a kind of like, this is a price range, right? We need to get out of this price range for it to matter. Otherwise you'd be like, well, this is a higher high too, but that's ridiculous. You can't look at such small price action, reasonably, because it just kind of wouldn't really make sense. So that's my take on the Ethereum situation. And of course, that feeds in very well with the Bitcoin situation. Thank you all so much for the likes on this live stream, ladies and gents. I really do appreciate it. Let me take a look through some of your comments here. I'm going to get to them properly in just a minute, but I do want to read through a couple of them right now. Glad I caught your live stream. I'm glad you're here, mate. Thank you very, very much. Long-time supporter of the channel. what's the strategy for new entrants in this market? Honestly, I don't think it matters if you're a new entrant in the market. I don't even know if that's a word. I don't think it matters if you're new or not. This is something that a lot of people kind of get caught up on, is like, well, my position is slightly different, so what do I do because I don't have the same cards you have? It's like, well, look, it doesn't really matter, because the right play in the market is the right play in the market regardless of if you have a bag already or if you don't. It's, the market doesn't care if you already own Bitcoin or if you don't already own Bitcoin. And so, it's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's the best one I can give. What I'm most interested in is if Bitcoin does end up reversing down toward 40, toward 30, I want to buy more Bitcoin. I don't really have much money left to buy it with, but whatever I do have, I want to buy Bitcoin with. And that would kind of be my approach. And that wouldn't be different for me if I was new or if I've been around for a long time, because again, the right play in the market is going to be the right play regardless of how much you already own. Let's see what else we've got here in the comment section. Continue to drop them as we go along, and thank you all for smashing up those likes over here in this live stream as well. Why are the alts not following that much? Again, I think it's the same thing I'm talking about right now. It's like when Bitcoin has, and if you've missed anything in this live stream, just rewind to the beginning. It's all really, really good content. If you're just tuning in now, about 40 minutes after we've started, one of the key ideas I was talking to you guys about in this live stream just like 10 minutes ago is that when Bitcoin is performing well, you no longer need to be in riskier assets, which in this context means altcoins. You no longer need to be in riskier assets to make money, okay? And if you don't need to take risk to make money, then you won't take risk to make money. And that's why you'll end up in Bitcoin instead of in altcoins. Very, very logical. And, you see this play out all the time. See what else we've got here in the comment section. Do I still think 34K is possible? 34 to 38. Yes, I do. I do still think it's possible. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, of course, but I definitely still think it's possible. The reason I think it's possible is because if we're going to have a macro pullback, it's probably going to be quite bloody. It's probably going to be quite uncomfortable to live through, and those kind of things, they do typically, take place across very large price ranges. So that's something which I think could definitely play out. Just bear with me here. I've just got to black my screen out for a sec, but I'm still with you guys. I just want to take care of one quick little thing here. Bam, I think we're done now. Okay, we should be fine. Just had a little technical issue, but we're back. Let's take a look at some other questions that we've got here in the comment section. Head and shoulders on the lower time frame. Let's take a look at this head and shoulders that one of our viewers are pointing out. I don't think I see it. You're going to have to be very specific about what time frame you mean, but you probably mean this. And sure, okay, but it doesn't really matter, right? I guess, if this was the head and shoulders you're talking about, then, naturally we've got to come back down for that retest over here and then continue up. But that's something I'm expecting anyway. Regardless of how high this thing goes, I would love to see a pullback down into this price range. And we've got really good indicators that are kind of suggesting that indeed might happen. We've got really, really good signs showing us that that's maybe what we're going to be looking at. For example, our beautiful Ichimoku cloud, which has provided phenomenal support for Bitcoin already, and our daily EMA ribbon sitting right at this key price range as well, stretching between about $44,000 and $43,000. Very, very useful, reliable indicator in my experience, giving us support at exactly the price range that I would be expecting to see it. So, that is something to me which does look very, very cool. Let me continue going through these comments in just a sec before I pull up some more charts for you. I've got some really interesting charts, including outlining a possible trade that I want to take, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys in just a sec. And then I want to talk to you a little bit more about the S&P 500 and interest rate stuff. This is more conversational stuff that you guys know I love doing with you. I'm going to get to all of those in just a sec, but I do want to cover some more of these comments. Thank you all for showing this live stream some love and dropping your comments here. I do really appreciate that. When I said light passing through water, wow, man, that was brilliant. Thank you very much, dude. I appreciate that. Even if there is a drop, it'll be a short-term drop, right? Good question, man. Good question. Well, I don't know. What is short term? I think so. Yeah, I think it would be relatively short. Well, here's the thing about a short term drop, right? Especially the kind of drop that I'm talking about, is the drop is probably going to be pretty sharp. You know, we talk about short term. Okay, it might resolve itself in 3 months. That's relatively short term. But it would probably go down quite deep. Like, if it's going to be a good one, if it's going to be one that actually enables Bitcoin to rally up toward its all-time high and pass its all-time high and even hit like $100,000 this year, it's going to have to be a sharp drop, okay? Because and this is so fucking clear. I'm like the only one saying this when we're in a bear market. I was saying this right when we were at the bottom. Guys, I need you to write, I was here at the bottom. If you were watching me when we were down here at the bottom in this market, I was telling you guys that when you've got such a fucking horrific downtrend like this, you will have an extreme bounce back. And those of you that were really attentive, you're going to remember this. When I was saying that when you've got a horrific downtrend, you will bounce back, what I was also saying is the bounce back, the danger in that bounce is the bounce back is going to be so fucking extreme as well that people are going to get screwed on the top as well. Wherever that top is, whether that top came in over here or up here, people will get screwed on that top as well, because you're just rubber banding from the high to the low to the high, and you're just getting fucked on every single pivot point because you're way too emotionally invested in the game. You got the top wrong, okay, fair enough. You got the bottom wrong, fair enough. Got this top wrong, like at some point you got to start learning. You got to start paying attention. That's my point. That is absolutely important. Like, nobody expected this to be the bottom, apart from a very, very small number of people. Shout out to those of you that did actually understand that this was a very, very good place for Bitcoin to set a bottom. I wasn't completely sure that it would be a bottom, but I definitely felt like, this would make a lot of sense if it was the bottom. Very, very few people expected this to be the bottom, just like very few expected this to be the top. And it's going to be the same thing again when this market tops out now. It's not going to be a case where you're scrolling through Twitter and everybody's talking about how, things are going absolutely horribly and, there's no more like profit screenshots and stuff. This is how market tops happen, okay? It doesn't mean it has to happen now, but this is how they happen. Market tops don't happen when keyboard warriors are starting to say that the market is bearish, okay? Because they're always incorrect. So, this is my point that is really, really important for you guys to understand as winning traders in this market, is that when you're starting to see that absolutely everybody and their grandmother is aligned on the same upward price predictions, that's like exactly how things end up collapsing, like every single fucking time. There is no exception. So, that is useful to keep in mind. We learned a lot from you. Thanks. You're very, very welcome, sir. This could be the top. Oh, I've already read these. How do I feel about purchasing precious metals, silver, gold, platinum? Dude, gold, I think, is like the most obvious buy right now. I'm kicking myself for not buying more gold yet. I literally cannot see a better financial opportunity than gold in this market. Like I said, I've been a trader for 7 years. I've studied the markets historically quite far. I understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin and gold and the dollar and everything, at least to I feel fairly financially literate. I have never seen easier fucking money in my life than with gold. Never, not once. Because gold is such an easy idea to digest. It's such an easy thing to digest, the idea of actually trading it. Gold is available to trade on BingX, which is linked down below. This is another no KYC exchange, and you're gonna get over up to 135k in bonuses when you sign up and start trading using my link down below. Again, a no KYC exchange, which is absolutely fantastic, and over $100,000 in bonuses available. You can trade gold there. You can buy it normally. You can trade it with leverage. You can even trade stocks like Tesla and Apple, Forex, a bunch of other shit like that. Super, super cool. So this is well worth checking out for anyone that's interested in precious metals like gold. Personally, even though I think this is cool and I am going to use it, I'm interested in buying real gold. I think buying real gold is going to be even cooler. For me, there's a bit of novelty because I'm fucking 22. I've never, real gold is not something that 22-year-olds talk about buying. So for me, I feel like a little bit elite. I feel like I'm above everybody, at my age bracket, who, it's just whatever. I'm a young guy, right? Like, there's obviously going to be a bit of that. So I feel like a little bit cool, for having real physical gold. So I want to buy more of that. But at the same time, I do want to speculate, and I do want to trade this stuff on a shorter time frame as well. And again, I mean, BingX is just an absolutely brilliant opportunity to take advantage of that. If you are watching this live or not, definitely make sure to pause the live stream here. I'm not going anywhere. Pause the live stream here and check that link out for BingX, because this is a brilliant opportunity to be able to trade those markets, buy a little bit of gold, get some exposure. But of course, for me, like I said, I do also want to buy physical gold, and that's just something you've got to do through the regulated channels in your country, because you don't want to get fake stuff or anything like that. So yeah, precious metals, obviously for me, this is a conversation about inflation. This is a conversation about, money printing, same thing, inflation, and just the fact that gold has been suppressed for a really long time. I mean, the case for gold is so fucking strong. It's unbelievable. Take a look at this chart, guys. I mean, it's the same damn thing I was talking about on this YouTube channel already. Take a look at this top right here. Big, quick rejection here. Big, quick rejection. This one, not that big and not that quick, okay? Big rejection happened very, very quick. Another big rejection happened very, very quick. This one was not that big, and it did not happen very quickly. And this one, even smaller. This correction so far, it could go lower, but so far, even smaller. And it's been very slow. And we can measure this with numbers. Let's take a look at this, okay? Let's take a look at this. So from this high down to, let's say, this low, 4 months, gold is down by 15%. If we go 4 months in the future over here, gold is down by like another 15% roughly. Over here, if we go 4 months in the future, that's about over here, gold is down by 8%. Do you know what I mean? You're seeing this very, very clearly. From this high, I don't know if we have 4 months of price action. We've got 2.5 months. Gold is down by 6%. I mean, it's so clear. If we just look at the strength and we kind of analyze what this chart is showing us, it is so clear that we've got a situation now where gold previously was getting rejected quickly and by a lot, heavily. It was happening quick and it was heavy. Now it's happening slowly and it's light. I mean, if there's anything that shows you from a technical perspective that this thing is primed to blow the fuck up, it is obviously that this market is displaying more and more strength. And obviously, I think, gold is being, kind of suppressed a little bit. I really do feel like it. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that talks about market manipulation and stuff like that particularly often. But I mean, somebody is clearly fat finger selling gold up at these highs consistently. But as soon as this sell wall, whatever has been going on over here, as soon as this breaks down, right? Because gold keeps on coming up here. Eventually it's going to break down, right? Unless gold just gives up and just falls flat, which would be extremely unlikely and very, very strange and out of character for any asset printing this kind of chart pattern. As soon as Bitcoin breaks the sell wall, who's going to sell gold? You've only got people that refuse to sell down here or refuse to sell down here for this was just the last few years, by the way. But yeah, by the way, I forgot to make this clear that, everything I've just shown you, only stretches back 4 years. That's really important. I'm so sorry, ladies and gents. Everything I've just said about gold is going to get even better. One sec, take a look at this. I'm so fucking bullish on this thing. Because it's just such easy money the way I see it. This was what happened before. So we talk about, the mother of all fucking rejections here, gold. From this particular time frame, if we go 4 months later, down by 21%, obviously down to its absolute low, it halved, and it took 1,500 days. That was 5 years or something, or 4 years, for gold to bottom out down here, and it's so, now we talk about rejections becoming lighter and slower. I mean, it's so obvious. These are very, very light rejections compared to what we had back here in 2011. So I mean, if there's, and that's just, it's just happening within itself. I mean, this is a large time frame display of the same thing I've just said, and then we're seeing it on small time frames like here, so on different time frames with different patterns, with different parameters, the answer remains the same. So to me, very, 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 very obvious setup here. which I think is definitely quite interesting. Like I said, available to trade with no KYC on BingX with over $100,000 in bonuses. And it's not just gold. You've got stocks like Tesla and Apple. You've got Forex currencies, GBP, Canadian, whatever, Japanese yen. You've got obviously crypto, and other indices as well. You've got the S&P 500. Really, really cool. They allow you to trade a bunch of shit. Definitely do check this one out if you are interested in those kind of more traditional finance markets. But like I said, I can't stress enough, if it's something like gold, at least from my understanding, the best practice, especially like for larger investments, is going to be to buy the real thing. So this is great for speculation, and that's definitely something I'm going to do anyway. But yeah, for those kind of big holdings that you don't really want to sell for a few years, you don't want to buy them on an exchange anyway. That's not particularly smart. So, and I shouldn't be saying that because I get paid for, like talking about these exchanges, not BingX specifically. I don't actually get paid by them, but it's just, I'll make more money if I tell you guys to use these exchanges. But in this case, I mean, obviously I care about your best interest more than that because I trade. I don't need to do this stuff. A couple of people have been asking me like, why am I not so active on YouTube anymore or whatever? And, I mean, look, I like being a YouTuber, but only up to the point that I like it. Like if I don't like doing it or if I don't want to, then I just don't. And I don't need to because I'm trading, and I think that's almost why you can feel a little bit safer on this YouTube channel, because I'm not here first and foremost, or as any high priority to market to you guys. I'm here simply because I like it, and that's a different dynamic to somebody who needs to be here because this is their livelihood. I mean, that's where you start getting, I don't want to say scammy, but that's definitely where you start going in that direction. So always kind of keep that in mind. It's the people who don't need you that you want to listen to more, than the people who actually need you, because people who need you will sell you out. So that's really, really important. So on that note, physical gold, absolutely fantastic. Let me see what else we've got here in the comments before I move on to the next key charts I want to show you on for Bitcoin and a little bit of traditional finance. Gold, absolutely huge. Love gold. You may have said before, but what are my thoughts? Okay, I've already answered that. Just came in. Could you show us your TA? Steven, just do me a favor and rewind the live stream because you can kind of watch everything. You can watch it on 2x as well. I was here at the bottom and I failed to heed your wisdom, but I'm learning. Damn, sorry about that, bro. But you're still here, so we live and learn. I was here for the pain. I'm right with you. Would love to see 44K. Yeah, a lot of you guys have been here since way down there, which is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, Max agreeing physical is better than paper when we're talking about precious metals. Of course, that is very clear. Physical is better than everything. I mean, anything. I mean, this is something I've had a very vocal stance on for a very, very long time. I don't even care about these exchanges, in this context at all. Whether you use Bybit, you get that free $500. You use Deepcoin, BingX, whatever. If you've got money that is serious to you, if you've got money that you want to hold for the long term or whatever the case may be, you got to take it off the exchange. Don't keep it on the exchange because it's not your money. The exchange can go bust. The exchange can get hacked. You've got to keep it on your own wallet. And, that's a lot of research you've got to do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to go into it in this particular live stream, but you've got to learn about, key security stuff with crypto, because that's kind of the point of crypto. Like, you've got to be your own bank. You've got to be like super robust with your own security. And if you don't, you are pissing on your fucking money. So don't do that. Yeah, let's see what else we've got here in the comments before I continue on. JP Morgan and Goldman short the shit out of gold pretty consistently on their desk. Yeah, and Christopher, I can't confirm that what you just said about JP Morgan shorting gold, but it's been my long-standing theory now for quite some time that it is characters like JP Morgan and Goldman or other big players in the financial world that have been part of the problem, you could call it, in terms of suppressing gold. Don't know if it's true, just my theory. I'm just a normal fucking guy like you guys, and I just talk shit. So I just happen to have a microphone in front of me when I do it, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. People are asking me about silver and platinum. I don't know. I don't look at them, and I'm not really interested. I'm quite happy to look at gold and only gold for now. Silver is kind of like Ethereum, right? Ethereum to Bitcoin. gold to, silver to gold. It's kind of the same thing. So, if gold is good, silver is probably good, but I'm not really interested in silver, because I think the money is just too easy on gold. Like, why would you even want to be more risky? Sammy, serious question for you, man. Do you think Bitcoin will bottom out to 34 to 38, or do you think we'll continue this uptrend? Do you think Bitcoin halving crash has already occurred? That's been basically the subject of all my videos and live streams, lately. The answer, in short, to your question, I still think it could happen. A lot of the halving crashes happen after the halving, shortly after. It doesn't take a long time, but they do happen after. So our halving is in about exactly 2 months from now. That's a long time to crash already, just within 2 months. And, I would even say, like, the next 1 or 2 months after that, there's still a lot of potential for that kind of crash to happen. So, I'd still be looking at that as well, as something which would make sense. Sammy, you're very refreshing, not collaborating with the other bellends. Thank you very much, Lee. I appreciate that. This is why we love you. Integrity over money. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Definitely. This is why I'm here, guys. Yeah. Gotta be able to respect myself, right? Where do you think gold will reach this cycle then? Good question. I don't know. I'm like, how long is a piece of string? I don't know. But personally, like me, for my own investment strategy, I think $3,000 is pretty obvious. I think, the longer it takes, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that I said about Bitcoin. Again, you heard me talk about it just like 25 minutes ago for Bitcoin. I was saying, like, we had a relentless downtrend throughout 2022. We had a really bad bear market where Bitcoin went from 69K down to 15. It was really, really bad. And the worse that is, and the longer it takes, the more explosive the recovery will be on the other side. That's what I said about Bitcoin, and that's what I've been saying about gold. The principles are the same everywhere. It doesn't matter where or how you learn to trade, you can apply it to all these other markets. They just happen on different timescales. That's why, by the way, those of you that have jumped into our VIP group and have taken advantage of the free Four Slice Academy course, a lot of you guys are going to get when you join my VIP group, you're going to learn how to trade these markets. You're going to learn how to analyze these markets in crypto, but you'll be able to apply this to absolutely anything. So for me, for gold, it's the same thing. I think that if Bitcoin was suppressed for a really long time, then that's probably going to produce a really explosive rally on the other side. And I think it's the same thing for gold. I think for gold, it's even more suppressed. It's even more, how do I say, like bursting, getting ready to kind of pop. So for me, it's, at first it was 3K. Now I'm thinking 3.5. I don't like saying big things like this on live, but I'm even, privately with my friends, I've even said I'm looking at 4K. So, like for gold to double, I mean, yeah. And by the way, that could take years. Gold moves really slowly. So I'm not saying that this is going to be something that happens quick. But we can actually kind of get an idea of it. If we look at 2010, the beginning of 2010, like right around over here, up to the high, gold nearly doubled, and it took 1.6 years, 1.7 years, whatever. So, it took nearly 2 years for gold to nearly double. So, it's not going to be quick when it happens. Relative to gold, it will be quick. Relative to us, it'll be very, very slow. But I think it will happen. I do still think it's going to happen. All right, I'm going to pause the questions for a sec. If you have enjoyed them, do me a favor and smash up those likes within this live stream. I want to switch over a little bit to Bitcoin stuff just for a minute. I want to show you guys a potential position that I'm looking to trade, most likely on Bybit, where, like I said, you've got up to 30K to trade with. A nice little retest bounce here for Bitcoin, definitely looking interesting, down at $48,000. To me, this is a little bit too aggressive. I'm not completely convinced if I'm going to take it or not. But it's basically, if Bitcoin comes down from this 50K area just by, another kind of 1.5K, this could be a potential area to go long on Bitcoin, and then maybe even see a nice kind of recovery up towards 51, 52K. So that's a very, very short-term trade. I think people who are, quite short-term oriented, people who think that this market has a lot of strength left in the short term, like remaining in it, a lot of gas remaining in the tank for the short term, they're probably going to be interested in opportunities like this. We've got really nice EMA support here. We've got Ichimoku support here going into the next 2 days. So, there is some nice confluence building up here. I think if you're a little bit more kind of longer term, just a little bit more longer term, then actually you're going to be more like me, what I've been saying lately, which is the $44,000 level. So, that could definitely be something which is worth taking a look at. We've already covered this briefly, but, the S&P 500 up by 22%. Its annual return is around 8%, and right now it's up 23% in like 16 weeks. So, you do the math on this. It's obviously not normal for the S&P 500 to produce this kind of a rally. So to me, it's another kind of red flag that, like, I know there's a lot of happiness right now, and I really do not give a fuck. This is exactly how, things should look before retracements happen. So, I'm not looking to be 100% correct here. I'm only looking to apply the same thinking that makes me profits like these 1,000+% gain that I'm in right now. I don't even know how much profit I'm in right now, by the way, on this Bitcoin position. Let me just take a very, very quick measurement of this. I entered at about 21.5, which was right here, up to our current price. That's 130%, and I traded this on 10x. So I'm up 1,300%. I'm up 1,300% on that position. That is a 14 times return, not 13. That is a 14 times return. The kind of thinking that makes me profits like this is the kind of thinking that I am discussing with you all on this YouTube channel. So, I think that very, very much due for a drop. And the really nice thing, by the way, about the S&P 500 chart now, this is on the weekly, by the way, is that we've rallied up by a really nice margin. From this all-time high that we had previously to our current high, we've gone up by 5%. 5%. And we've taken our time. We haven't done it that quick. I mean, it's not slow by any means, but it's not super quick. We've taken a solid month to do that. And what that means is now, to me, the chance of this being a fake out is not very high. Still possible. It's still possible that we just kind of tumble down and, depression. But I think now, A, because we've spent, a month above this level, and B, because we've gone up by more than 5%, more than 3%, to me, that shows me that actually now we're more likely to stick to this and just bounce off here, or maybe bounce off here, if things start to get a little bit scary. But like one of these support levels, and then continue up. Like that's what I'm seeing for the S&P 500. And by the way, but that would still be quite a big drop for Bitcoin. And that's my point, is that like if this does end up happening for the S&P 500, that could end up positioning Bitcoin a lot lower. The thing is about this range, it's the same thing. What I'm talking to you guys about in terms of resistance up ahead, it's the same thing that applies to support. Okay, if we lose this red line here at 48K, and this red line wasn't even that important anyway, but if we lose this $48,000 level, if we basically fall below where we are right now, well, take a look at this. When we broke out, it was a very quick rally up here to grab another 3.5%. Over here, it was a very quick rally. It took 3 days to grab another 10%. On this occasion here, it took 4 days to grab another 13%. Well, it'll be the same thing on the way down. I think this is where people really start to get scared with the market, is they start seeing very quick drops happening very sharply, and they shit themselves and they absolutely lose all of their mental balance. But you need to view this market as levels, not as percentage drops. It's the same thing. I'm losing my mind repeating this. It's the same thing I was telling you guys when we were down at $15,000, $20,000. I was saying, look, I understand that these are big drops. I understand that these are uncomfortable to look at, but you have to visualize the market as levels, not as percentage drops, because 70K down to 20K is pretty scary. But when you understand that between 70K and 20K, right? This is a really, really important point, ladies and gents. If you're done with the live stream, at least stick around with me for this point here, because this is the best takeaway you can take from this video. If you're scared about this drop from 70K to 20K to 15K, you need to understand that there were only 2 key levels. Like on a macro scale, there were only 2 key levels on this chart. You could argue there was 1 or 2 more, but that's it. Like it's not you know, minus fucking 2 million% and we're dropping down and we've fallen by 50K. It's not that. We're in crypto, okay? If you view things like that, you're too scared, your money is too emotional, you're not going to make money, okay? It's going to be very, very bad for you. But if you look at this from a perspective of price ranges, well, it's just, you know, you lose an area of support, you fall down to the next one. And in this case, the first key area of support was at about 48,000. Naturally, that's where we painted a key top on this downtrend. It was the only real reaction rally we had, and it topped out at 48K, so a very natural price level to find some resistance, and $30,000. You know, these were the only two key levels. So if you lose it, you're down to 20K. It's obvious, right? And that's why as soon as we lost 30K, we fell right down to 20. Look at this. This is $19,000. We fall right from 30 down to 20 because that is the next logical support area. The market doesn't care that this is a 40, 50, 30, whatever % drop. The market doesn't care. The market just wants to find support. And wherever that support is where the market will go. So we take a look at this now with modern day BTC right now. You've got to understand that if a correction starts for Bitcoin, whether it starts now or up at 52, 58, 69, I don't care. Wherever it starts from, it's going to come down and find support. And support might be very far away. In this case, it's about 11, 12% away, right? But that could get a lot worse. If we lose this area of support, the next one's going to be another, 7% below. So from our current price, now we're looking at a 25% drop. If we lose this range, then we're looking at the 30K range, okay? And so from the bottom of this range to the top of this range, it's another 9% drop. In total, we're talking about a perfect 40% drop, which is about as much as Bitcoin ever experiences within an uptrend before it continues to rally up. I mean, the numbers work so perfectly, and you've got to stay emotionally detached. Like a lot of people are going to wake up one day when Bitcoin starts dumping, because obviously, I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but obviously, markets go up and down in mini and macro cycles. They're going to wake up and they're going to be absolutely terrified that Bitcoin's dropping. But you, ladies and gents, because you've made it over an hour into this live stream, are going to know that this is completely fine. This is completely okay. All we are doing is seeking the next level of support. And if that means we drop down by $200 or $20,000, it does not fucking matter. It does not fucking matter. We're just going to come down to the next area of support. Ladies and gents, hope you've enjoyed this live stream so far. Do me a favor and smash up those likes if you haven't done so already. I'm going to go through your questions one more time, and then I'm going to be heading off. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been a nice hour and a half with you guys on this live stream today. Thank you all very, very much. It is almost midnight where I am. It's 10 minutes to midnight right now. So I'm going to get ready to head off in just a bit. Sammy, you need to do more of these. Dude, I love doing live streams. I get pumped up for them. It's just like I said, they're not really like, I don't like saying it like this, but when I'm kind of getting behind the microphone and spending 90 minutes talking to you guys, I want you guys to be able to watch it. And for some reason, it just doesn't really work. But I'm doing more of them. And I'm going to continue to do more of them. Ultimately it's when there's a lot of volatility that you can kind of expect me to be there on days like this. So I'm always going to be there when you really want me there, and besides that, I'll be here with normal videos too. But thank you all very, very much. I really do appreciate it. Share this channel with anyone that you think might find it useful. That is very, very much appreciated. Any support that you guys give is always absolutely huge. I love you all. Thank you very much. Super, super happy to continue doing more. And like I said, there's been a little bit of distance from me and YouTube over these last months, and I've been liking that. So when I'm coming back, I feel like I'm giving you more of the Sammy that you want, which is the Sammy that I want. So that's pretty cool too. You're here curing our FOMO and opium addictions. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I've been there, dude. I have been there, and I am honored to be able to help with that. Washington State, USA wants more live streams, dude. Washington State looks so cool. It is my dream. To go to Mount Rainier. Is that how you say it? Mount Rainier. I really, really want to go there. I don't think I'll hike it. I don't think I'm that good, but I want to see it. Can I do a meetup? I've done a couple meetups. I think I did a meetup in Los Angeles. Probably did a meetup in Dubai at some point. I'll do meetups. Yeah, I don't mind. It's a brutal hike. Yeah, I've heard. But Washington, I don't know. There's something about, I haven't been there yet. I've been to Oregon, but I haven't been to Washington. There is something about Washington that I feel like it's just going to be magical. Just magical. So super, super cool. We got a few Washington State viewers here by the looks of it. Yeah, I'm a big nature guy. So like anywhere where there's mountains or, like just cool. Mount St. Helens, of course. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Anywhere like that, I'm, kind of in love with it. Like Switzerland's one of my favorite countries in the world. Because of the scenery and stuff. Let's buy Doge at the top of the mountain. Let's have a crypto camp out, man. That yeah, I mean, sure. If we're doing it, I guess I'm in. Kind of have to be, right? If we're organizing it. Hi from Scotland. What's up? What's up, man? I love. Have I ever visited the UK? I'm sorry. What? When I go to London, some people who don't know me think I'm American, and it really offends me. It really, really offends me. I'm from the UK. I'm from London. I was born and raised. I served 19 years in the UK in the cold, shit, miserable climate as the politics deteriorate. Oh, that was a joke. Brilliant. Yeah, you're from. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, no. I love Scotland, by the way. I think Scotland's probably like the coolest country in the world for geography. One of, for sure. Yeah. Cool, guys. Thank you all very much. I'm going to head off for this one. If you want to stay in touch and all that good stuff, then definitely check out the links to the socials down here. Twitter, Instagram, I read everything. Telegram, you can reach out to me and my team as well. Super, super cool. You've got beautiful exchanges giving you massive bonuses as well, which are all worth checking out. Dean from Sheffield, sorry about that, bro. Yeah, I do, but to be fair, you're right next to the Peak District, and the Peak District is really cool. The Peak District is really, really cool. You gotta kill the stream. I gotta get some work done. Yeah, and I gotta go smoke a shisha. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm re-downloading Twitter just for you. Thank you very much, dude. Shoot me a DM. Let's kick it. I'll see you all in the next one, guys. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Yes, definitely very happy to do more of these. I think for now I'm gonna do them more when there is volatility, just because it kind of makes sense. But I mean, I'm happy to kind of increase the frequency and stuff. I love doing them, like I said. So all right, thank you all very much. I'll see you on the next one.